Hey, sports fans, welcome back to another episode of Bucky Sports Show. I'm here this evening with BA. We're going to talk a little NCAA basketball, both the men's and women's tournament here. We're down to the Final Fours.
Yeah, go back on my bracket. Really, just have two of the Final Four teams.
Yep.
Tennessee, I had Tennessee in there. They kind of let me down. And then I had Michigan State.
Yeah, I did too.
And then, like I said, I had Florida and Duke. Still believe that Florida and Duke's the two best teams.
Yep.
All that from the start. So,
Yeah.
I think they have both shown that they've been. Duke really has rolled. I mean, they really truly have been battle tested. Florida's been battle tested a little bit, but Duke,
Florida just goes on those late runs.
Yeah,
and just they just bury you there at the end of the game.
One of the best performances I seen the other day from their guard.
Well, they end on 18-4 run.
Yeah, 18-4
and
run.
I don't know if has it Walton Jr. Gary Walton Jr. I don't know if he missed.
Yeah, it's Clayton, isn't it?
Clayton, yeah.
Yeah, Clayton.
Walter Clayton Jr.
He put on his Steph Curry performance. I mean,
yeah,
it was one of those deals where you see him making shots like Curry makes. I mean, it was impressive.
Yeah.
Like I said, out of the tournament, that might have been one of the most dominating players in the tournament so far, performances in the tournament.
Yeah.
Just the way he brought them back and single-handedly took over a game. And then going back to Duke, I mean, Cooper Flagg does so much. Even when he's not scoring, he had 16 points. Everybody said, oh, he's down. A lot of people would love to have 16 points in the Final Four. The final 8 years. He beat 8 games.
He does what he has to do for his team to win.
But the thing is, the guy can defend all 5 positions.
Yes.
He got matched up on a mismatch against a point guard, and the guy could not drive by him.
Yeah.
He amazes me how complete of a player he is.
Yeah.
Just fun to watch. And like I said, I am not a Duke fan, but I've caught myself watching Duke more this year than any other season I've ever had because of him.
Right.
And the other freshman, Knippel, another guy. Knippel's a good kid that you're looking at him, you think, okay, he's okay. He's big and strong.
Mm-hmm.
He's strong. I mean, just physically strong.
Yeah.
Can shoot it, finds his way to the rack, does a lot of good things. They have 3 players that can go out and get you 25 on any given night.
Yes.
And then a big guy or big rim protector that can get you a double-double.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the reason why I give them the edge over Duke or over Florida in this, just because of the Florida's got height.
Yeah.
But I believe Duke may have the tallest team in the tournament. They were talking the other day, as far as the starting 5, if you add all their height together.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm impressed with both teams. Houston, I'll give them credit, but I just
Houston.
Purdue could have had him. Purdue had him there. At the end of the game, I thought
had there been an offensive foul call.
Yeah, I agree.
It would have been a very interesting overtime.
I agree. Purdue battled. I mean, they did. They left it all on the floor. I can't say anything bad about it. But Tennessee just kind of laid an egg. I mean,
Tennessee just looked like they were only there for Kentucky.
Yeah, and Auburn played well against Michigan State.
They did.
It was a good game. Michigan State kind of got into a lull where they were having a little trouble finding the rim there for a little bit.
Yeah,
went through that offensive drought there that kind of killed them. So,
in all fairness, I didn't get to see a lot of that game. We had some storms flowing through, and
same here.
They were cutting in and out of that game for giving weather updates, which is obviously needed, but
right, justifiably so.
But a lot of that game wasn't watched.
Women's tournament. To go to the women's tournament, I seen Paige Beckers give 2 games maybe the best performance. She did a Caitlin Clark performance there.
her second half against who'd they put? Oklahoma? Was it Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, yes.
Was incredible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she was, like I said.
I mean, we were both watching that over whatever men's game was on. Well, I was getting ready to text you about it, and you sent me a text asking if
I flipped it over during a commercial to watch it, and then she just put on a show. And I'm like,
you couldn't
turn it. Watch a little bit of this.
Couldn't turn it back.
No, I was definitely impressed. UConn does what UConn does in the women's program.
Yeah.
They find their way to the Final Four, and you know, at this point in time, it's kind of a toss-up, I believe. They ain't got as good a chance as anybody to win it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, did you see Gino Auriemma's press conference before their regional games?
No, I did not.
Okay, let me read some of these quotes here from you, because he went after the women's tournament and the format it is.
I did catch a little bit of that about their travel schedule and...
Well, in the women's tournament, they have 8 teams in the regional.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 2 regional sites, as opposed to the men that have 4 regional sites with 4 teams at each.
Correct.
So, Auriemma says, in a normal world run by normal people, there would only be 4 teams here, which means there would be no games today. The games would be tomorrow, which means we wouldn't have to get up at 6 a.m. to have an 8 o'clock practice here this morning for an hour. God bless whoever wins Monday night. Okay, and they have got to fly cross country, which is all day Tuesday, then have 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, to play the biggest game of their life. The guys who don't know anything about anything, according to a lot of women's basketball people, they finish Sunday, and then they have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they play Saturday. So whoever came up with this super regional stuff, and I know who they are, ruined the game. They did. They ruined the game. Half the country has no chance to get to a game in person, but you're making billions off of TV. Well, actually, you're not. That would be the men's tournament. So, yeah, there's a lot of issues that they need to fix. End quote.
I agree. I agree with him.
And Kim Mulkey also agreed with him and said this is hard for her to build a program. She said the popularity in women's basketball is as high as it's ever been.
It is. They got to feed off that.
And she can't build a program when they have to go across country and play in a super regional every year.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes they may be overlooking. I mean, I understand they're not getting the same treatment as the men's tournament.
No.
But we've talked about that before. The men's tournament brings the most revenue. Now, with that being said, the women's tournament is catching up.
Yeah.
And justifiably so. There's some good basketball there on the women's side. So they do really need to sit down and see how they can realign this to make it more beneficial for the women's teams. Yeah. Something today that was really shocking was the point guard from Notre Dame that was projected as the second pick overall in the WNBA draft has entered the transfer portal and decided not to go to the WNBA. Yep. And that's based on financial reasons.
It is.
She is going to make more money and control her destiny where she plays next year by staying in college.
Yep.
And it's going to be a substantial income discrepancy between the WNBA and her NIL deal.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, that's a problem.
It is.
I mean, that's a problem. And God love it. I mean, for the players, more power to you.
Yeah.
But the NCAA has created a monster.
It has, and there's no turning back.
I like the idea of players sticking around and playing, and they do need to be financially compensated.
Yes.
But there's got to be a limit. They are saying rumors that it could be up to $1 million a year that she's going to get an NIL deal.
Yeah.
And people say, okay, well, it's just still not up to the men. You're right, it's not up to the men. I mean, Ballo with Indiana got $1 million. I think is what he ended up getting.
Right.
But with that being said, when your professional contracts are extremely less than what your college NIL deals are, there's probably an issue.
Well, that also tells me that there's more money in college women's basketball than the WNBA.
Yes, there is. And I believe that.
And I know because I've looked into it. If the NBA wasn't supporting the WNBA,
yeah,
the WNBA wouldn't be around. They lose $15 million a year.
Now, with the last couple of years and their resurgence, especially last year, now they're getting the collective bargaining agreement. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. That won't be in effect till next year. So her holding out might be beneficial for her. It will be beneficial for her next year coming into the WNBA. But like I said, that stirs a big pot, though. And you know, some of the WNBA season, maybe it's because it's in the summertime. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that I enjoy watching WNBA, some of it, but I don't watch a lot of it in the summertime. It's baseball season.
If I see Caitlin Clark on, I'll tune in.
I'll watch it, but it's baseball season.
It is.
And summer, people are out doing things.
Or golf.
Golf. Yeah. And people are vacationing and stuff like that. I think maybe the WNBA looks to change their season.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe they start in late fall. I mean, then you're going against college football. But
and that's the bigger issue. I think they have to not be in competition with NBA because they share a lot
of the facilities. I understand that.
Share the same.
It's true.
But maybe instead of starting right after the college season ends, why not start August 1st?
Yeah, maybe, and play through the fall.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just something they need to look into. I don't know. There's experts that get paid a lot more than we do to figure it out, but I think it definitely needs to be looked into. Another thing is, like I said, the college women's game has really become exciting, and especially now with the transfer portal, it's going to get interesting to see, your big programs, your SEC. I mean, this year again in women's basketball, it seems like it's the SEC and the Big Ten. The Big Ten was strong this year in women's basketball.
Oh yeah.
Strong. And like I said, it's interesting, and I'm glad that it has grown to where it is now. Mm-hmm. Used to, you'd go to a college basketball game, women's college basketball game, and you'd have a few hundred people there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's parents, friends, and a couple boyfriends or something, or girlfriends, and that's all that showed up. I mean, it's so it was. I'm glad the popularity has been there, and the TV revenue has got to help. I mean, there's a lot of women's games on TV now.
Oh yeah.
So it's time to share that wealth a little bit.
And last night I was watching a little bit of UConn and USC. And I was just sitting there thinking, how great would have this been if Juju Watkins wouldn't have got hurt?
Sure.
That would have been a must-see game.
Well, now you're starting to get household names. Mm-hmm. Before, you couldn't, 20 years ago, you probably couldn't name a college.
No one knew who Sue Bird was when she was in college.
Exactly.
They may not even know who she is now.
Yep. So, you're starting to get a lot of college names in the women game that that you didn't have in the past. So, like I said, interesting though. Interesting to see what happens with the men's and women's tournament. I understand talking about expanding the field and so forth. I just don't see it right now. I mean, I just think they've got a good thing running.
With NIL the way it is, and the transfer portal, I don't think that magic of an underdog will ever happen again.
Right.
Because even a Robert Morris, who played in the play-in game, first four, whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
their first five at least are all in the transfer portal.
They're gone
2 days after.
Yep.
And they're going to get swooped up by someone.
And that's the other thing. This transfer portal needs to have a different start date. It shouldn't start till after the tournament's over. And it shouldn't. And there should be a deal too with coaches.
Well, I actually saw an interview, and I can't remember who it was, but he sat in on the transfer portal. And the whole idea was it has to be open for so many weeks, and it needs to be closed by the end of the finals for college, which is normally the first week of May. Which is why it opens when it does.
I still don't like it because you have players, just like in Michigan, that was still playing and had a player enter the portal.
Yes.
And I don't like it, and I don't like the coaching thing either. I think if it was in the NFL or NBA, it'd be considered tampering.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it should be just like any other sport. The day after, the Tuesday after the finals, everything opens up. Free game there.
Yeah.
Free for all. Okay?
Yeah.
But I just don't like it to where, like I said, coaches are coaching teams knowing they're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's disturbing. And with that being said, if you're a player or coach, and they're coming to you, it kind of puts you in a predicament where you have to take the job, or they're going to take somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's putting the coaches in a predicament too.
Well,
so I don't care for it.
I think there needs to be limits to how many times you can transfer.
Oh, yeah, there definitely needs to be.
I'm going to use, because again we're season ticket holders to Indiana State. Aaron Gray.
Mm-hmm.
He started his career at Southern New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
The following year, he went to Niagara.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was his first year at Indiana State, but he's only able to play in about half the season because he was ruled ineligible for some reason on the transferring thing. So he came back to Indiana State for a full season this year.
Yep.
He's in the transfer portal.
Yep. Conwell's in the transfer portal. It'll be his fourth school.
Yeah. Brian Conwell, South Florida, Indiana State, Xavier.
Yep.
Either IU or Texas.
Yep.
Not sure which one yet.
And like I said, he is one of the top players out in the portal right now.
Right.
So he's going somewhere big.
Yeah, even Isaiah Swope.
Yep.
USI, ISU, SLU.
Yep.
Like, there's got to be some sort of limit.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Indiana State last year, the way it shut down, you talked to Coach Schertz on his way out the door at the hotel.
Yep.
When he missed the bus by 30 minutes.
Yeah.
There's not a doubt in my mind he wasn't upstairs somewhere talking to the representatives of St. Louis University.
No doubt in my mind. There was some sort of meeting. I guarantee there was a meeting there.
So he's coaching the rest of the postseason for Indiana State, knowing he's leaving, probably trying to get all of Indiana State's players to go with him.
Right.
Players should not be allowed to follow coaches.
Yeah, that's another good rule. I can see that too. If
they want to leave.
I agree.
You can't follow him their first year at a new school.
I agree, but again, we talked about this again. Players play for coaches. They follow coaches.
They do.
You look back at most of the players that you talk to. Why did you go to North Carolina? Well, I went to North Carolina to play for Dean Smith.
Yeah.
I went to North Carolina to play for Roy Williams. Okay. That's probably 80% of them. Why did you go to Indiana? I went to Indiana to play for Bob.
Yeah.
That's why these people go where they go.
Yeah.
And also, hey, I fit in the program there. And good coaches recruit players that fit to their program.
They do.
So
yeah,
there's two sides to that. So like I said, they go there for a reason.
They do.
I seen that something on Tyler Hansborough the other day, talking about what made you go to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And he said Roy Williams.
Yeah.
I wanted to play for Roy Williams. And I fed in, I got there and I had a role. I fit into their system.
Yeah.
And that's why he excelled. And he made a lot of sense on, what these players, now they're just chasing a check. They're maybe not looking out for their best interest or the best place for them, but someone that's going to pay them the most.
Right.
Which he says is going to end up being a demise to college basketball.
So, yeah.
And I agree with him.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot to be said about, chasing that check rather than what's the best for you. Maybe.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's hard to turn down that money though. And
hey.
if you're a 20-year-old or 21-year-old in college, I mean, when I was 20 and 21, I was eating macaroni and cheese out of a box every week. Fighting, playing poker games just to try to get rent money, and it was a lot different than what they have it nowadays. Let's put it that way.
Hey, I don't blame anyone for.
I don't either.
For chasing a.
I mean, I'd been in big trouble with someone who gave me $600,000 a year in college. I mean, hell, we'd had a hell of a time.
Yeah. Yeah. And, just thank goodness that didn't happen, because who knows what Indiana State would have turned into.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been good. Well, number one, Indiana State would have had $600,000 to pay.
They still don't.
They still don't. Let's talk Braves baseball.
Oh,
the winless Braves.
Well, let's talk Braves baseball. First off, Jurickson Profar.
Yeah.
80-game suspension for PED use. He is the first Brave at the MLB level to be busted for PED. I'm not saying that no one else used them.
He's the first one.
But he's the first one to get caught at the at the MLB level. They had a minor leaguer when it first started, but he wasn't scratching anywhere near. He's like single A, double A. First major leaguer. So disappointing.
It is.
As a Braves fan, I always hung my hat on, we don't do that shit.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I hope when his 80-game suspension's over, we ship him out of town somewhere. With that, though, come on, hit the ball if you're going to be doing it.
Yeah.
They scored 1 run in the last 3 games.
Yeah, offense has been kind of down for the Braves, and that's something that I thought would be their strong point so far.
Yeah, and then their first 2 games, well, actually, I think every game except for until last night when they played the Dodgers, their bullpen had lost every game.
Yeah.
And I know there's injuries.
But every team's going to have injuries.
Oh my gosh, they got to figure it out, because they're going to start 0-7 because they're not beating the Dodgers.
And the Dodgers may not lose.
Their only chances tonight when Chris Sale throws.
Yeah. They may not. I mean, the Dodgers may not lose the rest of the year.
Dodgers are solid.
It's
Dodgers are.
They are solid. Like I said, another good year for the Dodgers. Let's see. I just follow them on Cardinals here a little bit. They're down now 3-1.
Yeah.
And let me see how they scored there. Sure, but we started off 3-0. Played well.
Yeah.
First series.
Yeah.
Got beat last night in extra innings. But overall, pleased with the Cardinals pitching staff so far. We got Levitor throwing tonight, which I knew that was going to be a disaster. I mean, we keep him around year in, year out, thinking he's going to develop.
Yeah.
We'll see. I doubt that happens.
Yeah.
But, we just kind of been hacking around up there and got 3 wins. So that Central's wide open. So
it is.
Anybody can take the Central. So we're gonna give her a fighting chance anyhow.
Yeah, you might as well.
So.
All right, let me ask you this because I saw some discussion on this on TikTok. Your top 4 months in sports. What do you got?
Top 4 months?
Yeah.
Oh, I like November, December, January, February.
Okay.
The reason why is I love college football.
Okay.
Huge college football fan.
Yep.
The NFL's going on. Big
Okay.
NFL fan.
Okay.
College basketball's kicking.
Yep.
And so that's
Okay.
that's my 3 big sports. I mean, I love baseball too, but you know, if you can have all 3 going on at the same time, you got NBA in there. Not a fan, but there's a lot of gambling options on the NBA.
Sure.
Player parlays, so forth.
Yep.
So there's that going on. You get into some hockey you can bet on during this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 4 favorite months.
Okay.
What's yours?
I am going March.
Okay.
For obviously the tournament and
Yeah.
all that. You know, baseball kind of gets kicked off there.
Mm-hmm.
Then October.
Oh, I thought you had to have consecutive months.
No.
Well, that changes mine.
Your 4 favorite months.
That changes mine then.
October is a beautiful month of sports. You got
It is.
MLB playoffs. You've got kind of the college basketball starting to ramp up with practices. You got your college football playing actual conference games. You don't have IU playing Indiana State like you have in September. They're actually, you know, good conference games. You might even get an Iron Bowl or something like that in there, that's normally November.
Right,
which would be my 3rd because, you know, college basketball, college football, NFL's making their moves for the playoffs and all that. And I like the college basketball tournaments there around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I agree. Then I changed mine.
And then January, because you got the college football playoffs, you got college basketball going in, and
that would definitely be with October because you got the World Series.
Yeah.
And then you also have college football kicking. So I would go October. I agree with November because I do like the Thanksgiving tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
And football's coming down. That Thanksgiving weekend's usually rivalry week.
Yep.
You know, you've got your big games, your Purdue IU, your Texas,
Auburn,
Alabama, you got Oklahoma, Texas. You got those during that month. So I'll go with October, November. January would still have to be in there because it's got the college football.
Yep.
And then you're in the heart of your conference. Your Big Ten conference, your SEC.
Basketball starts.
So there, October, or that's January.
Yep.
You said 4 months?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going March.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip February.
Yeah.
You go straight to March.
Yeah.
And then you got March Madness, and like I said,
you
get the kickoff of baseball. And
mm-hmm.
I can see that. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. Now, if you want to go worse months,
August.
Yes. July,
August. Postseason for NBA, NHL's over. It's miserably hot out.
Yeah. Maybe February. I know you still got basketball, but you're kind of you're gearing up for March, but you're not there yet.
No.
And there's nothing really else on.
Yeah.
And February is just a crappy weather month in Indiana.
Yes, it is.
So I'm just throwing it in there too as a bad month.
Yeah. And May is a sneaky good sports month, especially if you live in Indiana.
It is. It is.
You got baseball going full throttle. You got there's a major in golf in there.
Yeah.
And we're just inundated with the Indy 500, which
we are.
I love the Indy 500. I think it's a spectacular event.
I've been there 3 times. It's a thing. If you've never been live, you need to go once.
I've never been live.
It should be on your bucket list. I've been live, and it is a sports bucket list thing. I said been 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
After you've been a couple times, it's like
That's enough.
Is it worth fighting the crowd?
Right.
Is it worth fighting the long lines getting home, the traffic,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Sound like an old man now, but it's definitely something you go to one time.
Yeah.
I've been to the Brickyard there too, but it just seems like the IndyCar has more tradition.
Yeah, the Brickyard doesn't have the tradition.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're in the Indy area or Indiana person, you should go.
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of history and a lot of. I remember as a little kid just listening to the 500 on the radio.
Yeah.
Everybody sitting around with grandparents and stuff where that's no longer here now.
At a cookout somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere, and it's just. Brings back a lot of good memories, but it was always on the radio.
Yeah.
So the guys like Paul Page and the guys that did it on the radio, just voices that, brings back childhood memories. So definitely worth the trip.
Yeah.
Definitely worth the trip, though.
Yeah. All right. You got anything else we want to talk about tonight?
I'm good. I'm tired today.
Yeah, we put in hard days.
We did. Working too hard.
Yeah. All right, well, that will wrap up this episode of Bucky Sports Show then. We are available on wherever you find your podcast now. We're on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, anywhere you get your podcasts, we're there.
Big time.
Follow, like, comment, subscribe, whatever it is. If you have anything you want us to talk about, you can email us at buckysportshow@gmail.com. Again, that's buckysportshow@gmail.com. And we'll be back next week to talk about
who won this
the
tournament,
Final Four, and who the champion is. Yeah. Everyone have a good week.